Ndị be anyị kenekwanụ m unu. Anyị sị ka ụbọchị nke taa mara na anyị na mma. Anyị sị ka nke onye chiri ya zelu. Dịka o si dị ya bụ Eastern News 24 ka anyị si wee na-wetara ya bụ ozi unu jego ịnụ ugbu a gbasịta maka ya bụ ife na-ada na-akpọtụ and nwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ n'iru akwụkwọ. Alright, dịka o si dị ewetakwuru na another international update n'iru akwụkwọ. Ege ntị ọfụma ife a bụ gbasịta maka ya bụ stay on the issue and matters arising on visa ban to Nigerian politicians. Nke a ewugago aka n'ebe ndị ọchịchị niile nọ, both ma chief of defense o, both ma Tinubu, both ma vice ya o, ma senate president o, kemafọ ya Akpabio, onye ọbụla keta eketegokwu ya o, ọ bụkwa egwuregwu. Onye si na ife ụmụ Chineke na-eme ada awa ọkụ kwute na ọ na-awa ọkụ ya bụ ife na-eme. Alright, and also the trial of Maazị Nnamdi Kanu and the indefinite adjournment emere na Federal High Court. Stay on the matter ka nọkwado ime ya. Gee ntị na ya bụ ife ị ga-esi ya dropụra ife iche n'iru akwụkwọ. Alright, over to you.
Nnamdi Kanu, shall I say also STV, Senior Trump Advocate, or Good Governance Advocate?
I don't think I'm a Trump advocate. You know, I think the name makes it sound like there might be some partiality. I think it's just good governance because we look at how quickly he's moving. I wish Nigerian leaders would move like that. Corruption is being exposed day by day. We're looking at some silly spending the government is doing. And I wonder if somebody ever came and looked at the books in Nigeria, you know, what horrendous things we see. We'll probably see 50 billion naira for 1 kilometer of for 100 meters of gutter because it's the kind of brazen corruption we've seen happen in this country before. You know, but you know, we can only wish.
Do you consider Trump misunderstood?
No. I think it's just an impression of him created by those who are at the wrong end of his campaign. And you know, luckily for them, they have access to mass media and they can control narratives. So they're always pushing narratives. I mean, why would anybody be against reducing government spending, shrinking government, and unnecessary spending? Why would anybody be against using taxpayer money to run transgender surgery in South America, to run ideological Sesame Street in Iraq? Are those the things that taxpayers, when you're recently, after it was even said that it should be stopped, some employees on their own, including a senior officer of their of FEMA, took money for emergencies and disasters, hundreds of millions, and paid a hotel to accommodate illegal migrants. Of course, they have all been fired immediately. You know, there was no meeting and talking,
whatsoever.
No negotiations.
I mean, a lot happening on the foreign scene, and of course, bringing it back here. One thing that really shocked a lot of Nigerians this morning was the former First Lady of Anambra State, Ebele Obiano, in the news again. And what even made it more shocking was the fact that I wouldn't want to call her a nemesis or her nemesis or someone that she has really put her in her place, so to speak, when Bianca Ojukwu reposted the controversial video that showed Ebele in a fit of rage against another passenger on an aircraft. And of course, this made Bianca react to it, saying that she's in the news and all aircraft should have, from Houston, should have a Bianca Mycene on board to correct such behavior. But let's take a moment to look at that fit of rage from the former First Lady of Anambra State that Bianca reacted to. Take a look.
This time as well, okay? Are you crazy? This is why I'm sitting. So you let me go first. I'm not gonna get out of here. Who the heck do you think you are? If you wanted to go first, do it. What is all this?
And that was another fit of rage this week. Bianca, in her words, again, all aircraft flying out of Houston should be mandated to operate mini pharmacies where somebody can buy Bianca Mycene tablets because some people can never change. What were your thoughts as you watched that video?
I think as hilarious as Bianca's repost is, because you know, bring back memories of the epic slap that happened, you know, during the political season in Anambra, the slap head around the southeast. But I think it's a show of shame and highly disgraceful that a former First Lady of Anambra State should be involved in such behavior in such a public place. But we are getting to the point where we are no longer embarrassed when we see people supposed to be in prominent places do such things again. But you know, I think Bianca putting a humorous spin on it, but it worries me deeply, the lack of decorum she has shown again. And you know, I won't slander her name, but I know the amount of things people said about the Anambra First Lady with regards to, you know, decorum and things of the like, and they weren't always positive.
But taking it now to Bianca reposting it, you know, people are saying that she's being petty, reposting something like that. I mean, they're looking at it as, okay, you're this petty, and they're kind of praising her for it at the same time, but also the petty. Like,
I think there's.
Is it because you're a petty person too?
No, and it's not because I think Bianca is the most beautiful woman God created. I think.
See?
I think it's not petty, and I think her repost may have maybe taken a bit of the sting off such a shameful incident. This is a former First Lady of Anambra State. I don't think people understand the gravity of that, you know. And what's really worrisome is that in the USA, the TSA doesn't play.
Yes.
You start a fracas on a plane, next thing you are in cuffs. The captain can just make one call, and next thing you are in cuffs.
And bundled.
Bundled.
800 meters up Milliken Hill. All right, on that note, we'll see if there will be a third time, and maybe we'll have again this time around. But we'll keep watching and seeing what's happening, of course, on the local scene, as we also keep our eyes on President Donald Trump of the United States of America. So let's take a look at some of the national events, beginning from Monday's headlines. Vanguard reported on the alarming exodus of health professionals from Nigeria, with underfunding and inefficiency undermining public hospitals. The article highlighted a staggering decrease in health professionals in Nigeria from 300,000 in 2017 to 90,000 in 2024. Still on Monday, The Punch revealed that state salaries rose by 90% to 3.8 trillion naira, with 27 states depending on federal allocations to pay salaries. Meanwhile, Daily Trust reported another explosion in Niger State on Sunday involving a tanker offloading cooking gas at a gas filling station. The inferno reportedly affected goods, vehicles, and foodstuff.
Wato guri ne wanda ake kasuwanci, wanda ya shafi gidan mai ne da inda ake tara hatsi da inda ake refilling din gas na.
Tuesday, The Guardian highlighted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's questioning of the judge and the jurisdiction in his high-profile case. Expressing distrust, he firmly maintained that Justice Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja cannot preside over his case, citing a previous recusal. Let's take a look at that.
This is what happens. You can see. They don't want to something like that's this man. He knows me very well. Nobody wants to come out in Nigeria. What is that? That's the problem. Who's that person? Who's that person? After you say that you're talking to some people, they are facing. It doesn't matter if they're office. In a corrupt sector, that's what happens. They are very, very corrupt. There is a breach of judicial oath. They have violated the judicial oath. They have shown bias according to Supreme Court. They are biased against me. Supreme Court said so. And that is why what is happening in the judgments and rulings concerning me has been happening. So, disobedience to superior court orders.
This has left many Nigerians wondering whether the judiciary understands its own language. Still on Tuesday, Vanguard led with the NLC president's condemnation of the practice of many governors abandoning their states to live in Abuja permanently, while the people they govern continue to struggle. On the Daily Times, news about a closed-door meeting between influential figures and former President Olusegun Obasanjo, which gave rise to speculations about what it means for the 2027 election. On Wednesday, The Guardian highlighted the reviewed ATM withdrawal fee of the Apex Bank. To break POS monopoly, the new charges include 100 naira per 20,000 naira withdrawal from a non-issuer institution, and for off-site withdrawals, 20,000 naira will be charged, 100 naira plus a surcharge not exceeding 500 naira. The new price regime takes effect on March 1st. On Daily Trust, more on the horror of kidnapping in Nigeria, as the abductors of the National Director of the All Progressives Congress made a staggering 350 million naira ransom demand. In close proximity, Transparency International's latest corruption index ranks Nigeria as the 36th most corrupt country in the world. The presidency viewed this as progress by the Tinubu-led government. Still with the presidency in view, Nigerian Tribune reported the national chairman of the APC's advice to northern politicians. He advised them to perish the thought of 2027 presidency, vowing that the president would complete 2 terms in office. And in a quick response on Thursday's Punch, the Arewa Consultative Forum condemned Ganduje's no vacancy comment. The forum and other influential voices in the north say that the region cannot be forced to re-elect the incumbent president in 2027. On Thursday, Daily Independent, the House of Representatives passed President Tinubu's controversial tax reform bills for second reading despite opposition from some northern lawmakers. On Vanguard newspaper, NLC gave a March 1st alert to shut telecom services over the tariff hike. And finally, on Friday, the Daily Times reported about the passing of the reviewed 2025 budget of 54.99 trillion naira. On the Punch, experts shared listed funding hurdles, citing a significant 14 trillion naira for debt servicing. And on the Daily Trust, National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu slammed the Canadian High Commission in Abuja for allegedly denying Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, and other senior military officers visas. In Ribado's words, Canada can go to hell. Up next, we dive into these stories and more. Do stay. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakdown on Afia TV. And of course, I'm still here with Nnamdi Obaya, Afia TV political correspondent. And you've seen all those stories. And I think what really hits the heart of those in the Southeast the most is Nnamdi Kanu's trial and development so far. Is it that the judiciary does not understand its own language? Where does the NJC stand in this? Why isn't anybody saying anything? If the judge has already recused herself, but then she has been put back on that case, what does this mean? What's your appreciation of the matter? You
know, perception plays a lot of things. You cannot hire a band, cook food, set chairs, set canopy, and deny you're having a party, which is what the judiciary is doing. Nnamdi Kanu, you know, at this point in time, we have to call a spade, and admit that there is a lot of possible bias and a lot of infringements on his rights. Let's start with the little things, for instance. We saw Nnamdi Kanu trying to address the press along with his legal team, and someone in the courthouse decided it was the best time to shut off the lights. I think that tells you the contempt with which Nnamdi Kanu in this case is being treated. For a long time, I had always said, can we keep this in the court of law? Can we? But we've reached a point where whatever the crime Nnamdi Kanu is being charged for doesn't matter again, because it has been tested before the courts in the land to the highest level. It has been ordered he should be released. In fact, even compensation for him was agreed. But now he's on a case of detention without trial, and he has made a complaint saying Justice Nyako recused herself. They made an oral request the last time that, you know, there was no a vote of no confidence on her. She recused herself, and they said, oh no, the Chief Justice said she should come back. So there is no law that can give a Chief Justice the right to forcefully reinstate a judge who has recused herself, except she wants to come back, and she's claiming she's there on instruction. And the Chief Justice said, oh, they should do it in a formal matter. It doesn't matter how they did it, because I can recuse myself on my own, for my own reasons, for my own choice. I don't even need a prompting from anybody involved in the case. So if Justice Binta Nyako has recused herself, it does not matter under what grounds. It does not matter whether or not it was an oral submission or a written submission. She has recused herself. But
another aspect of it is that she is being told that she has been following this case since 2015. And that is one of the reasons she was put back on the case, because she seems to have a lot of knowledge about it. And now she's asking for Nnamdi Kanu to go ahead and see if
the problem
basically
is this:
redocument things.
If you have recused yourself, right, you can, you know, that's the problem. There's documented. What they are saying, Nnamdi Kanu should present documented requests for her. It doesn't matter, because she herself, it's documented that she has recused herself. Why is she there? It means that she's just there. That's not really a court case. She's just there. And if Nnamdi Kanu did not make that challenge, perhaps any judgment given tomorrow, they will use that and say, oh, she recused herself, so we have to start again. You know, so it looks as if the government is now playing games with Nnamdi Kanu. The important thing is not whether or not they even understand their own language. What I'm seeing is a case of executive recklessness and, you know, the executive's refusal to obey the laws in their own land.
That they created.
A court of law has given a decision, and we are still on this matter till now.
Over again.
It's very
I mean,
shameful.
if you look at that video on the screen, you can see the total rage in Nnamdi Kanu's eyes. You can hear it in his voice. You can tell that this man is frustrated. He feels cheated. He is standing his ground, regardless of whether it's being viewed as contempt of court. But it still continues to stifle him, turn up the lights when he's speaking.
I mean,
what in the level of intimidation and brazen behavior is that?
Let us now, for a long time there has been gaslighting that if for any reason you are sympathetic to what's happening to Nnamdi Kanu, you must be IPOB, you must be this. I think it's time for us to disregard and ignore that gaslighting, and whatever should happen. And let us call the facts for what they are. Nnamdi Kanu was illegally abducted. You could even say kidnapped and brought to Nigeria. There was nothing legal about his mode of arrest.
The speed from Kenya.
He was brought to Nigeria. He was put in detention. All the charges have been changed over and over again. He has managed at every point to get the judges to either throw away the cases, find him not guilty, to the highest court in the land. Even has compensation that the court demanded must be paid to him. But what do we have? The president who arrested him has gone. And the president who replaced the president who arrested him will be two in a few months. And here we are still talking about the case. They're having no substance. At this point in time, this is extrajudicial detention. This is denying of fundamental rights of a man and denying him of his freedom. Because now we have passed, but he did this, he did that. Because whatever you're saying he did has been tested in court. Our opinions, all of us, opinions on whatever Nnamdi Kanu does not matter any longer. The courts have made a case, and now the same government. And what surprises me is that the courts themselves, who said they should let him go, are still opening their doors to bring him for hearing every day. When they should lock doors and say, no,
this time
we have released this man.
Yes.
Don't bring him here again.
This time around, I mean, Nnamdi Kanu made it clear that he only came because of his respect for the court, that he has no rule of law, that he had no reason.
But he made a point which nobody is getting, which I'm saying. The fact that they are bringing a recused judge. We saw how Ojus Okalo escaped after being found guilty. They did his sentencing with a judge who had no jurisdiction. So his team could easily overturn that on technicality, which is what I'm seeing again somehow playing out, where in order to waste more time, you bring a judge you know has no jurisdiction over the case because she has recused herself. The judge that told her to go back, there is no, where is the written documentation that the recusal has been reversed? You know? Then when this drags for a while, they now suddenly remember, oh, she recused herself. We need to start the process again with a competent judge. So let us adjourn. So you just have adjournment, and keeping him in detention.
So do you think that now Nnamdi Kanu is thinking 10 steps ahead of them? Because regardless of what she says, they will still say that she recused herself before. So is he thinking, I'm not going to let you guys waste my time
He has had his time wasted so long. He has seen people that were detained after him on similar charges. You know, they changed the charge from treasonable felony to terrorism. They've been changing the charges up and down. You also have the situation where people like Sunday Igboho, El Zakzaki have all been released. Even Mieti Allah, whose members are involved in a lot of clashes with communities that are involved in death, have had their terrorism status dropped. They no longer have terrorist status. But IPOB, that is an organization that you cannot even tie directly to the unknown gunmen, claiming it still has terrorism attacks, to the point that we even saw the actor Nkemowo sometime back distributing food and being assaulted because he was wearing Biafran colors. You cannot even wear those colors. So I think all these things are enough to make a man look and say, look, all these things I've been telling you people, can you see it now?
Was it Nkemowo? I think it was another actor.
I'm trying to remember who it was.
I don't think it was Nkemowo. It was another actor. But it's going to definitely call to mind in the course of the show.
No, it wasn't Nkemowo. I mean, Chiwetala Agu.
Exactly.
Chiwetala Agu.
Yes, just pulled you right down from the beginning.
Yes, I was trying to remember.
Okay, let's move to another story now. The NLC president is firing governors. I mean, he is also blowing hot. Like we said, it has been a very flamey week for lots. So he's saying that some governors have abandoned their constituents, have abandoned their states to go and live permanently in Abuja. And based on what happened in Imo, do you think that he is referring to the governor of Imo State?
I mean, you took the words out of my mouth, that this could just be, just a political move to point out that the governor of Imo State, Governor Uzodimma, is widely reputed to spend more time in Abuja than he does in Imo State, and this may be just that. And many people are accusing of politicizing it. But what I would say is, if he wants to have that toga dropped, then he should name names. And there were other governors who have been accused of it. I remember the former governor of Akwa Ibom, Emmanuel Udom, was accused of it. Some people said he spent more time in Abuja. But not just him. Majority of the governors in the north, northwest and northeast, are permanently in Abuja and can be visited in Abuja. In fact, many of them live in their state liaison houses in Asokoro and Maitama and are not even in their government houses in their state capital. So if he wants to attack governors, he should come out and call names, because till he does that, all people will see is he's attacking Hope Uzodimma, and we know that there is no love lost between the two of them.
All right, we're going on a quick break now. When the breakdown returns, we look at other stories that are making headlines. And of course, we'll still continue to look at them in detail with Afia TV political correspondent Nnamdi Obaya. Do stay with us. Program returns shortly. Welcome back to the breakdown on Afia TV. Of course, Nnamdi Obaya is still here. And now moving on to the issue of Nigeria ranking 36th among the world's most corrupt countries, a recent study has shown. And the presidency is seeing it as a pat on the back. It means that the president is doing well and is elevating Nigeria or ending corruption in Nigeria. I'm interested in your reaction.
First of all, I think Nigeria will take the most stupid credits and take them from anywhere they can get them. We are joint 26th most corrupt, but the fact that there are other people who are joint as well brings our actual position to 36. But by ranking, we are joint 26th most corrupt, and from 1, we are 140th. Yes, we are up from, we are joint 140th, up from joint 145th. Is it a case of us getting less corrupt, or is it a case of people getting more corrupt? Or is it a case of us, you know that when African countries toe the line, you are giving good ratings from, you have Fitch, Transparency International, IMF, World Bank, and this year I'm hearing them say a lot of rubbish about, how corruption is affecting climate action. And really my head starts ringing. We have come to this again. Political ideology. They are now giving people ratings. What does corruption have to do with climate fighting? You see, when you start hearing this, you now start looking deeply at who are the countries at the top. Who are the ones rising? Who are the ones dropping? You find that despite Donald Trump coming to clear things, the USA is dropping. The people who is coming up, Iceland, Ireland, all the people who are, meeting climate targets. So let us the mixing of ideology and the using of all these ratings as a stick to threaten people to go to toe the line. You're telling me that Cape Verde is the least corrupt country in Africa. Oh, fine and good, and you are showing me. But I look at everybody, and they are all climate action coastal countries. It is Cape Verde, Seychelles, forestation of Uganda, people who are willing. But you find out that once any country is going on heavy industrialization, immediately they are so a lot of faith is being lost in these rankings, But despite that, there is no smoke without fire. They can't rank you 140th if you are second. But the truth is, I think Nigeria being very proud of being the joint 140th from the top. And joint 26th most corrupt in the world, saying we are improving, is a disgrace.
Oh, goodness.
It's a heavy disgrace.
Nnamdi, I would hate to see you blow hot on this program.
What the president should be saying is, look, it's a shame we're in this position. There is no reason we should not be the most transparent country in Africa. Exactly. And this is what we aspire to. Instead, they are saying we've gained a place. It is due to
Nigeria gains the points.
Did Nigeria get more corrupt? Did Nigeria get less corrupt, or did some people get more corrupt?
Exactly.
These are the questions.
All right. Let's now move away from that to the healthcare crisis, because this is an aspect that is sometimes overlooked. I don't know why. When you are dealing with people that save lives, that it's really sad. I think it's even a tragedy to see people fall sick. They get medical care, and then when they are better, they just abandon the doctors. They don't care till the next time, the next time that they're sick. But you see these healthcare professionals saving people's lives on a daily basis, and even looking at the government, for instance. they don't take good care of them. They are leaving the country in droves. Looking at this headline on Vanguard, that was Monday's Vanguard, we're seeing a staggering decrease in health professionals in Nigeria from 300,000 in 2017 to 90,000 in 2024. When is this going to be taken seriously? 300,000 to 90,000.
As far back as 2 years ago on the AM show on Opening Bell, we have discussed these things. We saw the roots of it, we saw the seeds of it. I told you then 2 years ago of a packed hall in London of University of Lagos Teaching Hospital, ex-Luth students, people who studied medicine at the University of Lagos. They had a get-together and the hall was packed. So that amount of capacity from one school is available, and these are all the same sets, by the way. Not that it's all is one set. So majority of one set is in the, and this is UK. There's the US, there's Ireland, there's France, there's Germany, there's Ukraine, there's Russia. There's many. Our people are running to any country that will pay them moderately better and give them better chance at life. Truth of the matter is this: Nigerians are going through what they are going through and don't seem to care about going to the hospital because it's too expensive. One. We don't have a proper, robust health insurance scheme, despite what they claim. The best healthcare now comes if you have a healthcare package courtesy of where you work. If you know your office can give you a good healthcare package, and even at that, it's usually bed rest and malaria medicine.
Exactly.
If you're
typhoid medicine.
Yeah,
don't forget that.
Our doctors running is also because, and I know a lot of them, a whole lot of them, and you'll find us, you'll be surprised that enumeration is not always the major reason or the only reason. There are things that they see that they go through. They tell you the flimsy reasons people die. I have a friend who she broke down, a baby died for what was avoidable because of a nonchalant nurse, and then go and buy a needle. And but the child is dying, go and buy a needle. And you know, and she broke down and cried.
I think those people should be, you know when you pick beans and you just remove the stones
and
the corn and all of that,
see,
they need to be picked out.
People are enabled to behave badly in any institution.
I like that you say enablement.
The leadership itself is corrupt.
It's flawed.
Because the leadership is enabling bad behavior. Yes. Anywhere you see disregard for authority, anywhere you see lack of dedication on the job, you need to go to the top.
Yes.
Because there are people there.
Exactly.
There are even senior people who are fighting to make things better.
All right.
But if top is rotten, everything will rot.
Everything is rotten as well. So let's quickly look at this other headline before we move to fact or fiction. And that involves, we're looking at the CBN trying to make commercial banking more efficient, so to speak, and be more favorable in its competition with POS. Because now we're seeing that stiffening competition between the banks and POS, because POS seems to be the new order of the day. I mean, everybody owns a POS machine now. People on the streets, you're seeing people go to withdraw money. You're seeing these operators even holding some of this cash, which of course increases scarcity in banks. So the new charges, the new charge regime that is going to be implemented come March 1st. What is your reaction to that? Do you think that this is a good competitive strategy for the banks? I
think a lot of times our leaders are not only out of touch. I think sometimes they behave like people who might have to question their mental capacity and function.
Nnamdi, you're blowing hot on this show.
No, for the simple reason that Nigeria is the only country where we are purchasing our own currency with our currency. We have started, that's something that started during the cash crunch, has continued and has become a trend.
And that's what CBN is about to implement.
And that's what I'm coming to. The fact that the PS people have become, they are exorbitantly charging us. And if you talk to them, they will tell you that even they are purchasing cash at high rates from the banks. So the banks are holding the cash from their machines, creating scarcity to sell to the POS people at a higher rate than they will get. So both the banks and individuals within the banks are getting their cuts on this money sold. And the government feels that the best way to combat it is to make it more expensive for the average Nigerian to withdraw money from the banks. That's the best way. That, okay, this illegal money you are making from the POS, rather than us do what we need to do, increase liquidity at the SNL window, let people get more money in the banks, mandate that banks have their POS operationals, do surprise inspections, incentivize good practice, punish bad practice. No. What you have decided to do is to sanction, certify, and legalize illegality and criminality, cash hoarding and cash trading. You are converting it to what you think is a policy. And I use the word think generously here because I doubt any thought went into this. Sometimes you think the government is going on the right track, and by themselves they get out of the car and start climbing up Miliki Hill to disrobe themselves for Nigeria and disgrace the country before the international community.
I think I'm actually more afraid about what you're going to do after this program.
No,
I
makes
have
no
a feeling that you're going to start gearing up white on white to walk into CBN. And CBN is right next door. But let's leave it at that, because I'm really scared of, seeing blood on my table, all right? So let's move on now to fact or fiction.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one.
Okay.
And good luck to you. Nnamdi Kanu's request to transfer his case to the Southeast has sparked intense debates. Kanu insists that Justice Binta Anyako, who had previously recused herself, should not handle his trial. If no other judge in Abuja is willing to take up the case, Kanu's team suggests transferring it to the Southeast, and specifically to courts in Umuahia, Awka, Enugu, Asaba, or Port Harcourt. That established, the statement for today is, Nnamdi Kanu's case should be transferred to the Southeast. Fact or fiction?
It's a difficult one because either way, it's not really about the location. And I'll say this: if it's transferred to the Southeast, you have a case where there is a claim for duress. There is no judge who will want to judge against Nnamdi Kanu in the Southeast. You're literally in the belly of the beast. On the other hand, the bold-faced disregard for law and order with regards to the rights of Nnamdi Kanu cannot happen if that judge has to come out of a court in the Southeast and go home. So I get where he's coming from. But if you're saying away from Abuja and can it go to a court Southeast, I would say fact, for the simple reason that even the charge and the whole case against him, what is being brought forward, is below the level of the jurisdiction of a high court and should be moved from your special whatever in Abuja to any high court, which can even be in the Southeast. So, normally I would say fiction, you shouldn't do it because, the judges can be swayed by, am I safe judging against Nnamdi Kanu? Also, it could hit up the area, knowing that, Nnamdi Kanu is Southeast, the over-security and over-militarization of the court and the area where it is happening. But there's also the fact that with everything we've seen now, and with how his rights have been violated, perhaps they should move it to the Southeast and bring the case forward to why he's still in detention and come out of the court every day and find their way home.
All right. I mean, you've basically broken it down. And I like that you broke it down on this program because I could see you trying to tie your thoughts together. And you did a fantastic job of it. So let's leave it to you now, our viewer. What do you think? Should Nnamdi Kanu's case be transferred to the Southeast? Engage with us, of course, under the stream on YouTube, Facebook, or on wherever you see this video. Drop your comments, and who knows, next week on the show, we might just spotlight some of them. Thank you so much, Nnamdi, for always being my right-hand man. Let's chop knuckle to that.
It's good to be here.
Thank you.
I hope people don't mistake me for Nnamdi Kanu. It's Nnamdi Obaya.
I was scared about what you do after the show. Now I'm actually just genuinely concerned.
No. I just want people to be, people tend to make mistakes.
Clout. I think I should now ask you the question I asked Mr. Emeka Amba.
Yes.
Chief, are you related to Nnamdi Kanu?
He is Kanu, I'm Obaya. We are both Nnamdi because we are both the first male child born after a patriarch in the family. It's a name that comes to us by virtue of our position in the family. He's from Abia State in the southeast and from Delta State in the south-south. Oh. We just both happen to share Igbo ethnicity, and that's where the similarity ends. He's very light-skinned, as you can see. I'm not so very light-skinned. He's a UK citizen. I'm a Nigerian citizen.
All right. And that juxtaposes it all. Thank you once again. On behalf of the entire production team of The Breakdown on Afia TV, this is saying thank you so much for actively watching today's show, and do have a lovely, lovely weekend ahead. Don't forget, Afia TV turns 2 on Monday. Look out for that broadcast. You're going to see your favorite presenters, your favorite production team members, a lot of people sharing their story about Afia TV. And don't forget, some BTS footage of the early days. You see Nnamdi and I.
Ndị ba ngwadaluri nenu dikunu siwene sera inu bosi uru chinketa na Eastern News 24 beba isiwene weturu nyabo ozi odo na no n'elu akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị nketa ka ifi were ikwu gbasata maka ya bụ update eji maka webe n'elu akwụkwọ gbasatara one bụ maka mpịachi nke apịachiri all the Nigerian leaders by number Canada and the US and some other European countries. And the secondary bo basta makamazi Nnamdi Kanu court case. And the thirdly bo 2027 presidential election. Kefi wodiku basta makayabi ife. I drop pora ifiche no dinke ge na Eastern News 24 beba si wena uteru nya bozi joke bakabakwaro keto saya bozi korutu munna indozo nebe di chiche nte ka odene munnem.